Hi everyone, my name is Catherine McGill and I'm just going to show you a very simple flower design that you can switch up anytime you want. Very easy with flowers or greenery that you have in your house or in your garden. So what I'm using is, this is a tuna tin and this one is actually a cat food tin, and the difference is this has a lip, and that's how I know that was a cat food tin. It's also lighter than the tuna tin. So if you can do tuna, it gives you a touch more space and it's a little tougher. You don't accidentally run a nail through them and stuff like that. These puncture very easily. Hear the difference? And what I've done is I have a piece of birch and I just put a screw through the bottom. So that gives me my base. I'm using biodegradable Oasis, and please, if you can, look for biodegradable. The regular dollar store green foam is not biodegradable and will be in our landfills in our world forever. So try to be you can use chicken wire, you can use all different things in here to make it so that you're not polluting the earth. So you take your Oasis and you take your can. I don't like soaking my whole block at one time, so I just want to do as much as I can. So I just put it on and push it through, and then I take my knife and I just cut around. Now your foam you can reuse, but only if it never dries out. If your Oasis dries out from an old arrangement, it's garbage. You cannot reuse it. It will no longer soak up water, and this is your water source for your plants. So if you shove it into something dry, you will get a day out of your flowers. So I've done that. I know what size I want, and then I take my Oasis and I put it in a sink, a bowl of water. Do not be pushing it down. Do not be running the tap on top of it. Just put it in and leave it alone. And when it sinks, this one is sunk already. It's been in already. The one I just put in is floating, bobbing along, singing its song. So again, you'll get air pockets in it if you push it down or you force it to take water. So I have my Oasis. It is sopping wet. And of course I did it with the other can. So we're going to do this one first. This is a little bit high in the Oasis. You want it about a quarter higher. This is almost half, but we'll wing it. We'll go with it. So the first thing you want to do is do your greenery. And this is with any arrangement. Now this is just out of the garden. I have some spruce tips. And again, anything should be conditioned. Conditioning means putting it in water and leaving it for a couple of hours or overnight. And with anything woody, you want to try to have a longer cut, and that will give it more surface for it to drink. So I'm going to put that dead center. And that's going to be my tallest one. Then I'm going to go to the side. We're just going to try to make it even. You want to take off, if I put this in the Oasis right now, these leaves would be a big bump going in, and it would be more likely to fall out. So I'm going to take off those bottom leaves, do a fresh longer cut, and put it in. That one's a little long. We'll do that again. You want them to be even, with your center one being the tallest. They don't have to be perfect, but close to would be nice. So that's how we have it now. Tallest one, round about even on the outside edge. Now you can keep going around the outside edge. If you like, you could fill it in, but I'm going to fill it in with this variegated euonymus. It's just waking up in the garden. It's still a little limp, but it's what I have in the garden right now, so that's what I'm going to use. And again, they don't have to be really long stems. You just need enough stem to fit it in. If you're going to the garden center and looking for any bushes for your garden, look for ones that are variegated. The variegation draws your eye into the plant. A straight green euonymus, which is that one, just reads to your eye like a dark blob. If you have the variegation, your eye travels around it and goes in deeper, and it's more interest in your garden. So if you can, that's the same with a hosta or any other perennial shrub, herbaceous shrub that you're using. It's the same thing. So what I'm doing, again, I've done 4 around, and you see how these are starting to go down and starting to mask the tin. I spray painted the tin. You can leave it straight, paint it, whatever you want to do with it. I just find the green tin, it's easier to hide, that's all. So this boring old euonymus with old berries still on it will make a nice filler. So now I'm sort of going where the greenery, the green evergreen bush was. I'm putting one of these over top, on top of that, and starting to cover over my oasis, my green foam, floral foam. You see how it's just starting to disappear? And that's what you want, is to start hiding your mechanics, is what they call it. So you see how this grows? It's a stem and then a node of leaves, a stem, a node of leaves. So I can keep cutting that all the way down and giving myself new stems to add. And adding the euonymus is a totally different texture and shine than my evergreen was. So it's, again, your eye likes seeing variations. If you left it all the same, if you put only the same thing in, again, it'll be just like your variegated to your solid plants. It'll just read as a blob. So your eye will travel if you have different colors in it. Now I have some leatherback fern, which comes in bouquets of flowers. And I'm going to, because this is a small arrangement, I'm going to cut them into sections so I can use them more. And I'm just going to take off the last few leaves just so it has a better stem to stick in. And I'm going to start, you see the difference on that one leaf? Different shine, different texture. And that's what you want in any arrangement. Gives you that contrast, which your eye is really wanting. So all I've been doing is filling in the greenery, filling in the oasis so that you can't see the oasis. And it doesn't have to be jam-packed. You still need a little bit of room for your flowers to go in. But it will, for the most part, you want it covered over. See what I did? This one has come off the main stem, but I'm going to use this part, the main stem part, to stick it in the oasis, and that gives me a full long piece. I don't have to shorten that up because it's a short piece to begin with. So I'm just adding this texture all the way around, and it can be with whatever you happen to have in your garden or that came with your bunch of flowers. So I'm going to use mums, daisies. These ones are dyed. And what they do is this is a plain white daisy, and they stick it in a vase of water with some food coloring in it, and it soaks it up. It's a fun thing to do with your kids. If you want to do a little science project, is do up a jar of food coloring and then stick white carnations in them, or white mums, and they will suck up the color, and you get neat stripes, you get interesting blushes. I'm cutting these all off because they are, it's just a little tin, it's just a little arrangement. I'm taking the leaves off because they're not needed, you're not going to see them. This is still a little long, but not bad. So I'm going to do one color closest to my centerpiece, and I'm going to do 3. So it's dead center, and that is my woohoo focal. Now I have some little small ones, and I'm going to want this color to go through the whole arrangement. So I'm going to add some of these farther down, just so that the color keeps going all the way through the arrangement. So we could stop right there, or we can go crazy and add more. Let's go crazy! So we have some cute yellow. Now I did 3 of the purple, and I'm doing 3 of the yellow. And that's just, again, so your eye travels. If you have 4, you tend to see square or see the circle if it's in a circle. You don't see the individual flowers. So this way you get to see the individual flowers. And again, because we had, I've only got 2 left. Oh, there's a little bit there. I'm going to add these farther down just to draw the eye lower in the arrangement. And then maybe a little baby's breath just to break up the greenery. They're everywhere. Get in there. So these little stalks, each one can be cut off. I'm going to leave that one whole. So that you don't have giant clumps of white hidden in there. Big fingers, little space. There you go. So there's just, oh, he fell out. As I said, big fingers, little space. Tuck you down there. There you go. Very simple design. We only needed 2 flowers, 2 stalks of flowers, and a piece of leatherback fern, and some plants out of the garden. So there you go, just a little happy design.